In the heart of Norway, nestled among the rugged mountains of the northern kingdom, there lay a small village known as Helheim. It was a quiet place where the villagers lived simple, hard lives, but for Regan and his crew, this peaceful life was about to change. Regan was a man of many talents: swords, shields, and sails. He'd spent years in the northern sea, sailing with various ships, but this time he was different. This was a journey unlike any other. He set sail from Helheim on a voyage westward into uncharted waters. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows over the ship. His crew of 5, Kestrel, his loyal lieutenant, and 4 others, with each of their own skills and strengths, set off into the unknown. The sea was rough that day. Waves crashed against the hull with fierce force, threatening to swamp the ship, but Regan was unfazed. He guided the ship through the storm, securing its course and ensuring its stability. His crew followed close behind, their faces etched with courage as they faced the elements head-on. As the days passed, the storm grew worse. It seemed to swallow up the crew one by one. The ship was teetering on the edge of capsizing, but Regan remained steadfast. He knew that he and his men would not last long in such conditions. Their only solace came from the animals they had brought along for provisions: goat, sheep, and a few chickens. Kestrel ensured they were fed, while Regan worked tirelessly to gather firewood. The hours dragged on, but with each passing day they grew weaker. One evening, as the storm raged around them, Kestrel heard something strange in the sky, a low call. His stomach turned at the sight of it. Their meal was gone. To his horror, he saw a massive bird dive into the sea, taking its mate with it. The ship was tossed about like a rag doll. Waves crashed against the rigging, and Regan struggled to hold his helm steady. The crew grew tense as they watched their leader face nearly insurmountable odds. After what felt like forever, the storm subsided. The ship was tossed roughly into the water, but it remained upright until Regan brought it back on his strength. They were exhausted, but they pressed on. The crew set to work, gathering firewood and repairing the hull as best they could in the dark hours of the storm. Kestrel ensured that each man carried a portion of the supplies, no matter their age or strength. As dawn broke, the crew discovered that they had been shipwrecked. They were miles away from land, nowhere to go but back to the boat. Regan was nearly exhausted as his men and felt like he could fall at any moment. Kestrel, however, had a different vision for their future. He led them through the dense undergrowth of the Faroe Islands, the faces illuminated by the glow of the small fires they built in search of warmth. The crew began to heal physically and mentally from the ordeal and the storm that subjected them to it. As the crew worked together to survive, Kestrel noticed something strange about the island. The landscape was unlike anything he'd ever seen, dense with overhanging trees and twisted branches. It felt foreign to him. He told Regan about it during their meal break. The next morning, they set off to explore further. The storm had passed, but the crew still felt its effects. Kestrel's boat was wrecked in another part of the sea, but Regan remained determined to find his way home. After weeks of wandering aimlessly through the Faroe Islands, the crew began to realize they could no longer stay in one place. They knew they had to find their way back to Helheim, to a land they had left behind. Regan charted a course across the open sea, using his skill as a navigator to guide them safely home. Along the way, he encountered many dangers. Rogue waves, shifting currents, and treacherous coasts, but with Kestrel's loyal guidance and their shared determination, they reached the mainland. When they arrived in Helheim, the villagers were waiting for them. They had missed them deeply, but celebrated their return with joy. Regan stood amidst the crowd, his face a mix of exhaustion and relief. To his great surprise, he saw that Kestrel was not there to meet him. A bond forged during the storm now spanned thousands of miles. Kestrel had taken to a new identity as a seaman in Helheim's trade community. Two men were rarely seen together now, but their bond remained unbreakable. Regan felt a deep sense of gratitude for having known Kestrel through these years, his friend and ally during their greatest challenge.